Well, you all may have noticed that there are things happening in Unity Spiritual Center. Lots of things happening. And one of the things we're doing is we're doing little beautification projects. You may have noticed that we had the community room painted, and one of the wonderful people who painted that community room is sitting right here, Charlie Forsythe. And we say thank you. Thank you, Charlie. What a beautiful job it was, too. And now we're getting ready to do the hallways in the front part of the building. And that's going to be pretty exciting when we get that going. So it'll be a little messy for a little while, but you know what? We are so blessed with volunteers that they come and they kind of do their thing and we don't even notice it. You know, it's like one day it's not done and the next day it is. So it's like we're blessed in that way to have so many wonderful people who are willing to come and do things around here, do lots of different things, in fact. One of the things, too, that we're doing is not only are we doing it for ourselves, but we're getting it ready. We want to put our best foot forward for our new minister who comes, our right and perfect minister, and we're excited about that, and we're preparing for it. You know, that's what we do when we have someone to our house or something like that. We kind of fix it up, you know. We clean it all up and we fix it up and we do all of these things. And we do it not only for ourselves, but we do it as a you know, a respect for the people who come into our spaces. And so I've noticed that when I surround myself with beautiful things like flowers or whatever it may be, that there's a certain serenity and calm that comes over me. When things are kind of in order and when things are all put together the way they're supposed to be, according to the way I think they should be, there's a feeling of, and I'm sure you feel that same way. You know, we all kind of we have these urges within us that we need to do something different. We maybe need to move the furniture or whatever it is. And what that is that there's something within ourselves that is really crying out to be creative, is crying out to make something more beautiful, to plant gardens, to go places in nature that are beautiful. They're inspiring to us. We feel good when we do these things. And so we decorate, and we redecorate our houses just as I just did. And I had such a wonderful time doing it. It was so fun for me. And I loved the experience of doing it, and now I'm loving the experience of just enjoying living there. And we buy new clothes, and we get new fashions. And we change our hairstyle. We grow a beard. Well, I don't, but some of you do. Some of us grow beards, and some of us shave our heads, and some of us grow our hair long. And, you know, we do all of these things because there's this persistent urge within us to be better ourselves, to look better, to feel better. To know that within us there is something more, and it's urging its way out. And what that is of course, the beautiful spirit that indwells each one of us. And it's expressing in the way that it is individualized through each one of us. And so as we do this, we do different things, you know. We gain weight, we lose weight. We buy cosmetics, we dye our hair, we do all kinds of things, just so that we are expressing from our very, very highest, what we consider within us, our highest selves. And so here we are doing all of these things to bring more beauty into our lives. And we even find that we want our food to be beautiful now. Have you noticed that? When you go to a restaurant, don't you expect a beautiful presentation? Isn't that a part of it? I think that going out to eat, that's a part of what I expect. I expect a beautiful presentation of the food. And so, you know, everything is really expanding to bring more beauty into our lives. And We all, whether we realize it or not, consciously or unconsciously, desire to have a radiance about us. Something that really shows who we truly are inside. And that radiance comes out through our bodies. And that's how we express it, is through our bodies. And, we want to have this feeling of joy and friendliness, and we want a body that exudes health and vitality. And so we work on ourselves usually pretty constantly, I've kind of noticed. And in our search for more beauty, we can't depend on someone else to create it for us, except temporarily. Have you ever seen the runway models? They have this walk. And, well, I don't do it very well because I'm afraid I'll fall on my face. But if you see them before the makeup artists get a hold of them, they kind of look like you and me. I mean, but once they get that makeup on and they get, the only difference is that they're all skinnier than we are. But otherwise, they're like us, They're like us. And so, these things are the makeup and everything. That's a temporary thing. It's a temporary thing. It doesn't last all night. And so we know that those things are temporary. In the Four Agreements, the companion to the Four Agreements, there's an interesting thing that Ruiz talks about, and that is, he says, when you were born, your mind was completely innocent. You had no concepts of good or bad, right or wrong, beauty or ugliness. You had no concepts at all. You had no idea what it means to be a human being, to be a man or to be a woman, but you saw other people outside of you and you recognized them as your own kind. And when you are 1, 2, or 3 years old, you cannot see yourself. The only way that you can see yourself is to look at your image in a mirror, and other people act as a mirror. And so here we are, we're these little people, and other people are telling us what we look like and who we are. And you don't know what you are, but your mother tells you, and your father tells you what you are, and your brothers and your sisters do the same thing. And other humans around you have the capacity to project an image upon you, which means they tell you what they believe you are. Is it any wonder we grow up often not knowing who we are? And so many people spend their lives pursuing beauty. And that's a worthy pursuit. And yet we don't really have to pursue it. It is within us. All we have to do is allow it to come forth. There's an Indian fairy tale that came about in India probably at least 700 years ago. And it's called The Three Princes of Serendip. And this fairy tale is quite amazing. It's a long story. In fact, it's actually an entire book. And in this book, the three princes go out on an adventure seeking treasure. And so as they travel and have these adventures, they find many treasures, but they're not finding the treasures they were looking for. They find all kinds of treasures. Sometimes the treasures are even better than the treasure they are looking for. And so as they go about searching, they find that it dawns on them that this is the way life is supposed to be. This is the way life is supposed to be. And they adopt the thought that if anything can go right, it will. Now, what do we normally say in our society? But they don't use that one. They say, if anything can go right, it will. And every day for them resulted in new and exciting experiences. Serendipity says, raise higher, or rise higher, and look for the good. Let go to more beauty in your life. There is always something greater for you to experience. And I think that is really true. There's always something greater for us to experience. And that's pretty exciting. And I've heard some people say, oh, well, I'm at an age now where, I'm just kind of ready to, quiet down and not do anything else. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're too young for that. You're too young for that. Your soul is ageless. Your soul is completely ageless. You can't quit now. You can't quit. You got to keep going. There's more out there. There's more wonderful things. Marcus Bach once wrote, life, I decided, is so constructed in such order that happenings you don't expect to happen are actually things that are supposed to happen. Well, what if you're closed to them? How are they going to happen to you? So the most important prayer in this law of higher design of serendipity is you. Serendipity is learning to see the unexpected good in the unexpected. About 15 years ago, my husband and I were going to a conference in Portland, Oregon. And while we were out there, we decided to visit some old friends who were there. And it was really wonderful to see them again because it had been many years since we had. And they were getting ready to go to their condo at the beach, and they asked us to go with them. So we said, serendipity, okay, let's do this. So we went, but it meant that we were going to be delayed a day to go to our hotel and check in. And we were going a day early anyway, so it worked out perfect. So we are there, we're having a good time, and then we leave and we go to the hotel. And my husband goes in to check in, and he doesn't come out. And he doesn't come out, and he doesn't come out. And I think, what in the world? He must have run into some old friends and he's lost track of time. So I go in, and he's at the counter, and he's talking to the desk clerk. And it happens that when we called to delay our reservation, they lost our reservation. The hotel was full because there were many conventions in town. And so here we are, no hotel room. And Stan was being his very, 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 very best diplomatic self and turning on the charm and doing all those things that he knows how to do or knew how to do when he was here. And the next thing I know, the desk clerk says, I think we have a room for you. I think you'll like it. So we went to find our room, and when we got there, our room had double doors, not just one, double doors, and a plaque outside that said, the Seattle Suite. We said, is this the right one? But the key worked, and we went in. There was a little foyer. To the right was the dining room. To the left was the living room. And there was a little kitchenette beside the dining room. And then we went into the bedroom, which was absolutely gorgeous, and the view from that side of the building was of the river. Then we went into the piece de resistance, the bathroom. Oh my goodness. It was softly lit, so you looked good no matter what. Even first thing in the morning, you looked great in there. It was amazing. And it was like, wow, we never expected this, and we paid the regular price for a regular room. And so it turned out to be a totally serendipitous occasion. And it was so fun that I invited all my classmates to come to our room for wine and hors d'oeuvres that evening. And they were like, how did you do this? And I said, consciousness. That's kind of an inside joke, but among ministers, when you have something good happen, you say, someone says why, you say consciousness. Yeah. Well, we never know when something wonderful is going to happen to us, when we're actually looking for something else. And people ask me, what am I going to do when I retire? And I have plans. I really do. I have these plans, and I'm moving towards that. But they are not chiseled in stone. I am open to whatever comes up for me. Because, this is a great big world. And I think that whatever we choose to do, we can do. And so I'm just open to unfolding a miraculous life after this one. And life is much too exciting to just, sit around and wait for something to happen. And so when we are open to beauty, it's waiting to happen to us every day. When we're open to that beauty that is all around us and within us, it's there for us. I had a serendipitous experience yesterday. A friend had asked me to go to a car show, and I wanted to go, but this talk was not finished, and it wasn't even close. So I said, well, I'd love to go, but I really can't because I have to finish this today, because it's the last day. And so I said, I will come if I get the talk finished. So I'm working, and I mean nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. And I'm struggling, and finally I think, there's a half an hour left of this car show. And I thought, I am going to go to the car show. So I jumped in my car to get away. I thought, I've just got to get out of here and do something different. So I went to the car show and had enough time to hear who won the awards and to look at the cars that were left there, which were beautiful, and it was such a nostalgic experience. You ever been to a car show, a classic car show? They're amazing. You see the cars that you grew up with as kids, and some of them were old, It was like, whoa, how old is this car anyway? They were gorgeous. I mean, they were like, you didn't touch them. They did not want you to touch them. They were so beautiful. So anyway, it was nice, and it was a beautiful afternoon. It was cool breeze, but sunny, and my friend was fun, and we just sat and looked at cars and walked and looked at cars, and then in a half an hour it was over, and I went home. So I was gone 45 minutes to an hour, and I went back and I finished this talk, and it was like, oh, it was so much easier. And I thought, sometimes you just need to get up and walk away. You have to get up and just walk away. Because if you don't, you'll just get stuck. You get brain freeze or something. I don't know what goes on in your head, but you need to do something different. At a certain age, we sometimes go on a quest to find ourselves. Did any of you go on a quest to find yourself at a certain age? There's one. Surely more of you have gone on a quest at a certain age. Don't mean you have to leave town or anything. You just have to, there's a time. I did. I actually left town. But I did go on a quest to find myself. And I was like, you think of people in their teens going on a quest, or they're young, 20s. Well, I waited till I was 55 to go on mine, and I went on this quest, and it was truly a wonderful experience for me. And I did find myself. I did find out who I truly was, and I did find out that, I was going to do more than I had before. And so when we do this, we find that finding ourselves is a real thing. We do find out who we really are. And as we go through our lives, we may do this many times because we change. We're not always the same person that we started out with. We change over time, and as time goes by, we find that change is an important change for us. And sometimes we don't want to change. We like the status quo because change looks scary. But we have to be willing to open ourselves to it We must be willing, otherwise we stagnate. And there's nothing worse than a stagnated person. There's so much loss, so much loss. Not only to them, but to the world around them. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore discovered their magnificent, beautiful selves when they were on a quest. They were on a quest for quite some time. And they are our co-founders. If you don't know that, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore founded Unity. And they discovered themselves when they started on this particular study. The two of them were sick, poverty-stricken people who took this quantum leap from the darkness into the light. And all of the possibilities, from the darkness, they were in despair. She was dying. His business wasn't going well at the time. And things were looking bleak for them. And they became aware of their spiritual inheritance as children of God. And this was a new awakening idea for them. It totally awakened who they were. And the Fillmores proved in their own lives that there is a spirit within us that is greater than outer appearances. They proved it in their own lives. And they knew that it was greater than any doctor's diagnosis or any circumstance. And the teachings of Jesus Christ came alive in their lives. And they found health and fulfillment and prosperity in their lives. And we're all here today because of the truth that they found. Where they founded Unity. And they named it Unity because it was such an appropriate name and still is. For we embrace truth from wherever it comes. And they discovered that to truly experience God, we must be willing to let go of the old limited thinking that we have and see ourselves in a new way. In a new way. To become spiritual adventurers that are not afraid to try uncharted paths. They're not afraid. Charles Fillmore felt that our work here on earth is to activate our spiritual potential. That means change. When through the Christ within us we awaken to the endowment that God has given us, we are literally calling forth the positive, powerful current of the God ideas within us, which are unlimited. They are unlimited. Somewhere along the way, Charles Fillmore had transcended the things that bother most of us. He was truly in tune with the universe, in harmony with the energy of life. He truly lived his life joyously, fully, spontaneously. The unknown always beckoned him. He was most interested in the road less traveled. And that was said by someone who knew him well. His granddaughter, who recently passed away, Rosemary Fillmore Ray. And she said, when she spoke of her grandfather, "Have you heard it said that he or she has a beautiful soul?" I think all of us would like people to say that about us. If you would like people to say that about you, do I have a beauty treatment for you? You can try my new formula called the Miracle Heart Cream, but it is not sold in any stores. First, take lots of love. You can't use too much of it. It is a softener, and the cream will be absolutely worthless without it, so you need this ingredient. So make sure you have plenty of it. Second, add a lump of kindness. It is the lubricator. It prevents friction without it going, and without it, the going's going to be rough and bumpy. So you need the kindness. Third, pour a large portion of good cheer. Good cheer takes us a long way. It chases the gloom out of the dark corners and lights the way for our happiness. Remain cheerful no matter what, because you know something better is going to happen. Why not? Fourth, do not forget compassion. It is important, and it must be used with great discretion. Fifth, now put in a big spoonful of sense of humor. We need a sense of humor. We need it to get through this life sometimes, because without it, things can get pretty dull and gloomy. So it is the price of life, and it adds pep to insipid and uninteresting occasions. I know someone sitting here today who almost every time I see her tells me a joke. And I don't know how she remembers all of them, but they always make me laugh. And I love that. I love to laugh, and I think laughing is something that we need to do more often. You know, and it massages your insides. It's good for you. Sixth, use a great deal of patience. It promotes harmony and leads to success. Patience. Seventh, dump in a large portion of faith in people. It is great for increasing ambition and stimulating effort. And eighth, stir in plenty of hope. You know, it prevents the blues. And ninth, mix all of these with an abundance of courage. It keeps you from turning yellow. I know that's really bad, isn't it? It is. I have to admit it. It's really bad. And 10th, and the last, gather up all the smiles you can find and sprinkle liberally over other ingredients. Like the candy sprinkles on a cupcake, they cover a multitude of mistakes and relieve dull monotony. And now, with all of those blended together into this nice, beautiful, rosy cream, apply it generously and apply a generous amount to the heart of every day. Don't wipe off the excess. Just slather it on and let it just soak in. Leave it to be absorbed and massage it well. And follow at once with vigorous exercise for at least 1 hour. I love and love someone. Love someone dearly. Love someone deeply. And as you do so, you are going to find that you're going to be kind. So do an act of kindness every week. Speak a kind word. Be cheerful. Give someone a lift. And look for the humor in everyday living. There's plenty of it to be found, believe me. And it's usually within you. I laugh more at myself than I laugh at anything else, because I do some of the most outrageous things. Be patient with others' shortcomings. You might have some of your own, you know. And have faith in someone. And hope for the best always. Face life with courage and smile. And one last tip. If you want to discourage wrinkles, meditate. Spend time in silence. It smooths out the face, and the peace that comes from it shows all over your body. Follow these directions faithfully for 30 days, and you will not only feel better, but you will be able to see a difference in the face that looks back at you in the mirror. Continue the treatment for 6 months, and your friends will remark how much better you're looking. And when it has become a habit, keep it up. After a year, you will notice that the number of your friends has grown. And keep it up indefinitely, and you will have a heart beautiful enough to face any challenge with self-confidence and a knowing that you live a charmed life. You know, that's a nice affirmation. I live a charmed life. Say that often. I live a charmed life, because you do. You do live a charmed life. And as you do this, you will find your life getting better and better. And P.S., in the immortal words of Forrest Gump, beauty is as beauty does. God bless you. Thank you.